What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. Today I got a new release from Vinegar Syndrome, just delivered today. It is the 4K limited edition of Southern Comfort from 1981. Now, this is a movie that my history of it is, I don't know, it's a weird history because I do remember this film as a young kid, seeing it on HBO. But I didn't remember watching the whole movie. I remember there's like certain parts of it that stuck out to me for some reason. It's like only caught, and mostly I think towards the end, because there's certain, the pig slaughter at the end was something that always stuck out with me as a kid. I remember seeing that scene, not really knowing too much of what it was about. But somehow, I knew I got the title, and I remember for years it'd always be there, kind of like it was never talked about. It was kind of just lost. Well, I mean, obviously it wasn't lost, but to me, I saw it at like the time of HBO, then I never saw it again. I'd heard of it, I'd read about it, but I never see it. It wasn't really popped up in conversation. It just kind of, poof. And I think, I want to say like Shout Factory had released it some years back. I didn't pick it up, and I don't know why I never picked this movie up, because it was one of those movies that as a kid, I remember I saw, I was like, I need to get this, or I should get this, or something. It resonated somehow with me in my young, weird mind. This is a movie. I guess to me, it almost felt like it was taboo in a way. Not really taboo, because it's not. But again, for a young kid who's seen this in probably '82 or so when it was on HBO, and is seeing it because it seems so raw and so gritty and so real, and so that's like something. I gotta check that out. It's it's weird what as Forrest Gump would say, it's strange what a young mind recollects. But again, I never got around to picking up a copy, and then I saw Vinegar Syndrome announced they were going to release this 4K limited edition of this movie. I was like, okay, now this is my chance to get this and pick it up, and I am so glad I did. It's funny, because as I looked at this, I was realizing I'm not even sure if I've seen this entire movie at all. I did sit down and watch it, though, and I was actually surprised. There was a lot of scenes in the movie that I remembered as I watched it that I didn't even realize that I knew. Or as I watched it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this now. How they pieced together, I don't know, but there's certain things, certain deaths or whatever, spoiler alert, that popped up, and I've been like, oh yeah, I remember that now. But I think it's the first time I actually watched the movie from beginning to end, and I really liked it a lot. I think it's a lot of comparisons to Deliverance in a lot of ways, and I don't know if that's really fair. I mean, obviously the comparisons, you've got, backwoods, country, hillbilly folk, if you will. That's not even really true, because you're dealing with, in Deliverance, you've got the backwoods hillbillies, hillbillies. Don't want to get dinged. Whereas in Deliverance, you're dealing with, Cajun, or fur trappers, or whatever. But there's still people out of their element, and basically the people who they're picking them off one by one, as it were, to simplify things. For those of you who don't know, Southern Comfort is basically a film. The basic premise is you've got the National Guard troop or platoon who are together basically on like weekend maneuvers, training maneuvers, and they're in the Louisiana swamps of the bayou, and they're just here. They're again the weekend warrior. They're just here. They're not really taking it too serious. They're having fun. They've loaded up with blanks and their weapons, and they're shooting around and just whatever as they take this little training maneuvers, and then along the way they upset some of the local folk with their silliness and their brashness and cockiness, if you will, and it all goes downhill from there. And it stars Powers Booth, Keith Carradine, Peter Coyote, you got TK Cars, a lot of big people who will become popular later on. Fred Awards, was it? Oh, I can't think. The one-armed trapper. It's Brian Brian James, I think his name is. I could be wrong, but he's a big character actor. He's in Blade Runner, 48 Hours. So many films I could name, or he's in, I can't think of, but he was like the main. He's like the one-arm trapper. Like I said, he kind of represents the folks that are chasing this platoon and picking them off. But that's the essence of Southern Comfort. And of course, during this whole time they're going through the swamps in Louisiana, and they're just it's just, you get a real sense of it being just dirty, uncomfortable. It's scary. These guys are kind of losing their minds as they go on. I mean, they're soldiers, but they're National Guard. They're not quite soldiers, so they're not really prepared for this so much as some of them think they are, but they're not really prepared for war, and that's kind of what they're at, is the war. But it's interesting. It's got a great soundtrack, kind of that almost again a Cajun down south bluesy twang guitar. I think the best I can describe it, but it's really good, and it's haunting all at the same time. The image with the 4K. Yeah, I'm not an expert in 4K, but it did look really good. It was good. There was grain in the film, which gave it a nice, raw feel. The color palette it's not bright. This is a very toned down, muted color. Throughout the swamp, you get a lot of grays and greens. It's like dark. It's just, the color palette is not bright at all, which is good because the movie, it really helps with the tone. Again, the muck, the dirt, the swamps. You're not looking at bright green swamps like, say, the swamps in Swamp Thing. That color is all bright and green. This is very, washed out. And and Walter Hill, he talks about it in his interview. That's kind of what cinematographer mentioned. They wanted it kind of washed out, almost to have a look of a Korean War footage type deal. And again, this isn't. He also mentioned people want to say this is an allegory to the Vietnam War or compared to the Vietnam War, but this is really nothing to do with the Vietnam War at all. It's again, these people in Louisiana, they're just National Guard. But I guess. If you see that, you don't know what's going on, that's your first thought, because that's what was the thing around that time in the 80s, early 80s with war films, or what it perceived to be a war film, because this isn't really a war film necessarily. But I said it's got a good look, and it really puts you in that mood of just hopelessness and despair, for the most part, just trying to find a way out of this swamp and just to get to freedom. The sound on it is, I think it's basically a 2.0, mono soundtrack, which sounded really good. Very crisp, very clean. So, no problems. Overall, a great presentation. So, it was fun to really sit down and check this out. So, let's take a look at what we got here. So, here is the big box with its artwork, which is interesting that you've got Powers Booth, Keith Carradine, and then Fred Ward in the center, which is, I kind of feel like you would want to put Powers Booth in the middle of that. Even though Keith Carradine is top billed over Powers Booth, I really feel like Powers Booth was the main character in this film. But nevertheless, that's what you have here. Your side, pretty much the same here, and then your back. Nice here with the remaining with bear traps. And this is one of their big, Vinegar Syndrome's big limited edition magnetic boxes. So it's going to open up, and you're going to get this artwork here. Take a look closer, and you got your little strap. It's going to pop out. Your slip cover, which is very, simple. I like that. And here's the other side. Now, when this was initially boxed, this was facing up. So I'm not sure this is the front or this is the front. But to me, I think I like this is the front with the title and your image on the back here. Inside here's your disc or case. Specs in the back. And this does have reverse artwork, which is the same, basically our side of that slipcover. And I'm pretty sure this isn't, none of these the actual original poster art. I don't think. I'd have to go look, honestly. So if that's the case, I'm kind of surprised they didn't give me the original artwork, which would have been nice to have. So inside, you've got your 4K disc, if I can spin that around. There. your 4K. You've got a little small booklet in here. And then you've got your Blu-ray, which has all your special features, along with the Blu-ray version of the film. So you got your 4K. This all has is basically just the movie. That's it, and commentaries. And here you've got the movie with all your special features and everything else on here. You've got a little booklet. Yes, I mean there's like a poster, but that's an original poster art. And so on and so forth. That's inside the actual case. So close that up. But not done yet. Once it gets in here, because there's also another booklet in here, and there's the inside of the box with again that same artwork. But you've got another booklet. Let's see here. Not since Deliverance. Again, the comparisons to Deliverance. Back that says that Southern Comfort. And here you got some more write-ups and essays. Keith Carradine. So, yeah, this has got a really nice release. I do love this. This is a great way to get to see and experience this film again for the first time, to steal a Star Wars tagline. Because like I said, I was always familiar with Southern Comfort. I knew it as a kid, but really up until this moments ago, first time I actually sat down and watched it from beginning to end and piece everything together. But this is a fantastic release from Vinegar Syndrome. Like I said, I believe some years back, Shout Factory may have released a Blu-ray of this, but this is the way to go. Special features on here. I know I popped up that real quick screen, but let me take what we have on here. Let's see, you got the 106-minute feature presentation of Southern Comfort, presented in HDR and newly restored from a 35mm interpositive. With the following sound options, you got original English language mono soundtracks and optional English subtitles and a commentary track with Walter Chaw, author of Walter Hill film, Tragedy and Masculinity in the Films of Walter Hill. Nice. On the Blu-ray disc, you've got, let's see, Battle in Bayou, with a 17-minute brand new interview with co-writer and director Walter Hill. Behind Enemy Lines, 26 minutes. It's a brand new featurette with editor Freeman A. Davies and assistant editor Lisa Zeno Churgin. Soldiers, Not Mailmen, 17 minutes. Brand new interview with costumer Dan Moore. Into the Unknown, 50-minute brand new interview with film historian Wayne Byrne on Southern Comfort and the legacy of Walter Hill. And then you have archival featurettes with interviews with co-writer director Walter Hill and co-writer producer David Giller, along with actors Powers Booth, Keith Carradine, Peter Coyote, and Lewis Smith. Still gallery video trailer, the booklet, and so on and so forth. So this thing is packed with a lot of stuff on here. And again, what's really cool is that there's a lot of new features on here. You got archival stuff, but there's a lot of new stuff on here too, which is pretty cool and nice. And again, this is just a beautiful one of these. I love these magnetic cases that Vinegar Syndrome puts together, and this is a beautiful presentation. The movie looks great. It sounds great. And this is it. I'm very excited I got this. If you like this movie, I definitely recommend you adding this to your collection if you want it, or if you like Southern Comfort, this is the way to see it, without a doubt. So, and that is it for now. If you enjoyed it, click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know if you've seen Southern Comfort. If you had memories of it like I did, just kind of random things that just kind of maybe just disappeared for a while, then it just popped back up. And what your thoughts on it are. If you've got this release, or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.